The Sako 85 costs $2,000 and gets sold as a rifle that can save your life in the bush. The Tikka T3x costs $680 and gets treated like a beginner's toy. But both come out of the same Finnish factory, and one of them is quietly lying to you about how it actually works. So let's break this down like a normal person, not a gun magazine writer. Every bolt-action rifle on Earth loads bullets one of two ways, and hunters have been fighting over which way is safer for more than 100 years. One system is called controlled round feed, and the other is called push feed. That's the whole fight in one sentence. However, hunters take it deadly seriously, because they believe it's the difference between walking out of the bush alive or getting stomped by a wounded animal. A controlled feed rifle grabs the bullet the second it pops out of the magazine. It holds onto that little brass rim from start to finish, so the bullet is never loose inside the rifle. The old German Mauser 98, the rifle carried through both world wars, is the one everyone else has been copying for 130 years. Winchester copied it for the Model 70, Ruger copied it for the M77, and even the CZ 550 is basically a modernized Mauser. That's how good the original design really was. Wherever the bolt goes, the bullet goes with it. Even if you flip the rifle upside down after loading, that round isn't falling out. And if the bullet ever gets stuck in the barrel, the same big claw yanks it right back out with brutal force. A push feed does the opposite. It just shoves the bullet forward like a hockey puck across ice, and the little hook that grips the case only snaps over the rim after the bullet is already deep in the barrel. That's why old school hunters swear by controlled feed for anything that can eat you. However, this is exactly where the story starts to fall apart. The Sako 85 has been sold since 2006 as a controlled feed rifle. Sako calls it the world's most advanced turn bolt action. It's built in a small Finnish town called Riihimäki. It comes in 6 different sizes to match different bullets, and it carries a factory guarantee to shoot groups tighter than an inch at 100 yards. So on paper, this rifle should feed like a Mauser and shoot like a match rifle at the same time, all for around $2,000. But then, a website called Guns and Shooting Online, run by a well-known gun writer named Chuck Hawks, actually took the bolt apart and studied it, and what they found was ugly. The extractor on the Sako 85 is a tiny little claw, way smaller than the giant full-length claw on a real Mauser 98. On a Mauser, that big claw runs almost the whole length of the bolt, and it takes a huge bite on the case rim from the second the round leaves the magazine. By comparison, the Sako 85 claw is barely there at all. They wrote that the extractor doesn't grab the case rim until the last quarter inch of the bolt moving forward, right when the bullet is already almost all the way inside the barrel anyway. So being controlled at that late stage is pretty much pointless. Their exact verdict was that in every practical way except the marketing, the Sako Model 85 is a push-feed rifle. Now, a Finnish gunsmith named Mikko Jones, quoted in Gun Digest, pushed back hard on that verdict. He said the Sako 85 grabs the case rim just like a Mauser does, and that the bolt face is even shaped like one, with an open bottom for the round to rise into. Owners on the Africa Hunting Forum have posted slow-motion videos backing him up, showing the claw catching the rim earlier than Chuck Hawks claimed. So there's a real fight over when exactly that little claw takes hold, and both sides make a good case. However, Sako itself did something nobody in the hunting world saw coming, and it settled the argument for good. In 2022, Sako built the replacement for the 85, and they called it the Sako 90. When John B. Snow at Outdoor Life sat down and compared the two bolts side by side, he found that the new rifle had dropped controlled feed completely. The Sako 90 uses a full push feed action with 2 spring-loaded plunger ejectors instead of the old mechanical ejector on the 85. Even Safari Club International's own reviewer, writing a piece called Sako Ups there, Game said this switch was so strange he couldn't remember any other rifle maker doing the same thing in reverse. Sako just quietly told the entire world that its controlled feed wasn't worth keeping around. That's the receipt right there. The company that spent almost 20 years selling controlled feed as a life and death feature just walked away from it in their newest flagship rifle, which brings us straight to the little brother nobody was supposed to take seriously. The Tikka T3x rolls off the same production line in Rigby as the Sako 85, because Sako owns Tikka and both companies belong to the Italian giant Beretta. Inside, the T3x runs a simple 2-lug bolt, a spring-loaded plunger ejector and a small blade extractor. It's a push feed and it's proud of it. American hunters Philip Massaro tested a T3x Lite that weighed under 6.5 pounds and cost around $680 on the street. His verdict was that it represents an excellent value. Every T3x carries the same 1-inch accuracy guarantee at 100 yards as the Sako 85. Same factory, same Finnish steel, same cold hammer forged barrels, but one costs a third of the other, and it gets called a beginner's rifle by people who really should know better. So now the whole question flips upside down. If the Sako 85 is really a push feed wearing a controlled feed costume, and the Tikka T3x is an honest push feed at a third of the price, why would anyone pay the extra $1,500? However, before we get to that answer, we need to kill the last piece of the myth. The scariest story used in every hunting forum on Earth is what people call the short stroke death. It goes something like this. You're facing a wounded lion and you panic under stress. You fail to pull the bolt all the way back to the rear. You slam it forward and the push feed strips a fresh bullet from the magazine before the old case has even ejected. The whole rifle jams up on you and you die where you stand. That story sounds terrifying, and it's mostly wrong. Richard Mann, a gunsmith and gun writer at empty-cases.com, showed that on a push-feed rifle, the spring-loaded ejector kicks the empty case clear before the bolt even travels far enough back to grab the next bullet. So a short stroke on a push-feed usually just makes an ugly noise, not a jam. Meanwhile, a controlled feed rifle can also double feed if you short stroke it in a certain way, and Mann pointed out that the heavy recoil of dangerous game bullets actually makes that worse, because the recoil slides the magazine bullets forward on their own. Both actions can jam under real stress. The one thing that really saves you isn't the rifle you paid for, it's practicing until you can run the bolt in your sleep. Now this is the twist most people never hear. There's a real documented reliability problem with the Sako 85, but it's almost the opposite of what you'd expect. On hard-kicking magnum calibers like the 375 H&H and the 416 Rigby, hunters on the Africa Hunting Forum have been reporting for years that the Sako 85 throws empty brass so high and so wide that the cases actually smack the scope turret on their way out. Sometimes the brass flies back into the action and jams the next round on its way up. A professional hunter from Zimbabwe wrote about a client whose Sako 85 kept ejecting so badly on a buffalo hunt that they had to swap rifles right in the middle of the hunt. So the rifle sold as the ultimate stopper had its own quiet problem, and that same problem is one big reason Sako engineers switched to twin plunger ejectors on the Sako 90. Meanwhile, the Tikka T3x just keeps quietly working. Outdoor Life, American Hunter and Field and Stream have all reviewed it as flat out reliable across thousands of rounds. The T3x isn't perfect either. Some owners have snapped a plunger spring or a small extractor spring over the years, and those parts cost about $5 to replace at any local gun store. But there's no scope strike drama, no ejection theater, and no forum thread with 1,000 posts about a mystery jam. Gun writers have called its bolt the smoothest factory bolt in its price class, and its trigger the best under $1,000. So this is the honest verdict, the one your gun store salesman won't give you. If you hunt deer, elk, black bear, plains game, or anything that isn't actively trying to eat you, controlled feed doesn't matter one single bit. The Tikka T3x will shoot as accurately as any Sako 85, weigh less on your shoulder after 10 miles of hiking, cycle faster on a follow-up shot, and leave $2,000 sitting safely in your bank account for a family hunt or a college fund. Now, if you want a beautiful heirloom rifle with a 2-row steel magazine and Finnish walnut, buy the Sako 85, but buy it for the craftsmanship and the fit and finish. Not because you think its controlled feed will save your life someday. And if you're actually hunting Cape buffalo or brown bear at 10 yards, don't buy either one of them. Get a real controlled feed rifle like a Mauser 98, a pre-1964 Winchester Model 70, or a CZ 550, all built the way the Sako 85 promised to be, but never really was. The truth about controlled feed is that it was a real safety feature back in 1898 when soldiers were fighting from muddy trenches with rifles full of grit and blood. Today, with clean modern ammo and tight well-made rifles, it's mostly a story hunters tell each other at the gun counter to feel safer, and the biggest rifle companies in the world know that. If a company built the Sako 85, sold it as the whole answer for 2 decades, then walked away from that same design in the next flagship, that's not an opinion. That's an admission, and it's already sitting in a Finnish factory right now, being built one bolt at a time. If this changed how you look at the gun on your rack, hit subscribe. This channel is built for cutting through rifle world nonsense with real facts, real gunsmiths, and real receipts. There's a lot of bedtime stories out there in the hunting world, and none of them are on this channel. Thanks for sticking around till the end.